to your favorite cooking channel, Cooking with Cabbage. Today we're going to look at something very simple we can do at home. It's a vegetable stew, which is also more of chicken based with cauliflowers and other veggies. So I'm going to teach this stew in phases. So just in case you want to just do some chicken stew, if you want to do cauliflower stew, and if you want to do a vegetable stew, you can still apply it in there. So let's just jump in and see the ingredients we're going to need. And of course, we're going to start with our habanero pepper. We're going to have garlic. We're going to also use ginger, onion. Then you blend the three up to get your ginger, onion, pepper mix. And you're going to obviously need some chicken because it's going to be chicken based or chicken inspired. Then a little salt to taste. So what we do first is to marinate our chicken, and by marinating the chicken, we're going to use the onion, ginger, garlic, pepper on. You're going to add just a little bit of water and salt to taste. Now, because you're going to use this in your stew, you don't want to overly spice it when you're steaming it, else your stew is going to be too spicy at the end because you're going to use the stock in there as well. So what I recommend is you use more of your onion in there, just make it sweet, and the pepper and the ginger and the garlic, that's okay. So for the vegetables, we're going to use some cabbage, cauliflower, bell pepper, which I've cut here, the green bell pepper. You can use any colors you'd want, a little bit of the shredded onion in there as well. And I added in some radish. Yes, if you've not tried radish before, it's super nice in this, and some beets as well. So the beetroot will give it more color. So you just need to steam your chicken, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the heat you are using. Then once that is steamed, because it's in smaller chunks, you realize it steams faster. I'm just going to fry it up before it goes into the stew. You can decide to use it directly in your stew, but then when you fry it up, it makes the chicken a bit more wholesome. In the embubusa, it doesn't flake easy like that. Yes, because the skin becomes a bit solidified. Now I'm going to add in my gravy. If you're new or you don't know how to do gravy, I have it on this channel. It's also going to be a link in the description. So I'm just going to add in the gravy as the chicken is frying. Now, because this is already made, it's going to go very fast. So within 10 minutes, you're done with your stew. I'm adding in the ingredients, those which are a bit tougher, the veggies, like your beetroot. Beets needed to simmer a bit so that the color and things will come out of it. Now, as that is also steaming up, I'm going to be checking on my chicken to make sure that it's all frying perfectly. You can decide to cut your chicken per the chunks you want, but then smaller chunks like these are always great to have. Now the chicken, you don't want it to be overly fried, that would be too hard. You just want it to fry a little bit, so about 5 to 7 minutes frying is not bad. Then you put it into the sauce. Now the essence of you putting it in is to make sure that it gets its time to also simmer with the sauce, so the sauce goes into it. So it won't be like you're chewing chicken separate, you're eating the sauce separate. It has to mix together, so you feel that beautiful balance in there. So once that goes in, I'm just going to add in a few veggies in, like my bell pepper, my onion. That gives it that fresh bump to it. Yes, so this is a simple chicken stew recipe you can try at home. You just let it simmer on to thicken for a few minutes, and then you are virtually good to serve it. So this is simple chicken recipe you can do at home. Now let's move on to our cauliflower stew. Now this cauliflower has already been cleansed. If you're new to it, I've already taught cauliflower how to handle it, how to work with it when it's fresh. I've taught you how to store and preserve it. So your cauliflower, what you're going to do is to break it into the chunks you'd want into your stew, which is basically your gravy with a bit of water to clean it up. Now I'm adding in the radish as well. The last thing I'm going to put in will be the cabbage. You see, cabbage doesn't take in too much heat. It's a very soft vegetable, so once it goes in too early, it's going to even get runny, it's going to get too light, it's going to be overly cooked. But something like cauliflower takes in a bit more heat than the cabbage. So I just let that also simmer in, and then they all come together beautifully. And this is virtually cauliflower stew here. So it's a simple thing you can do as well. Now I'm just going to go in to add in my cabbage. Yes, and that's a simple cabbage stew recipe. For the cabbage, once it goes in and you mix it together, you can even turn off your fire and then let the heat simmer it. You don't need to overly cook your cabbage, or you'll be, killing the nutrients you need in there. So try out this very simple cabbage stew recipe. Should I say cabbage chicken cauliflower stew recipe? It's so easy, it's so simple, it's so healthy and nutri-packed. Will I see you in the next food video? Do live life to the fullest, do be merry, be joyous, and let every food moment count.